Sukha dukkha same kritva labha labhau jaya jaya tato yudhyaya yujyasva naivam papam avapyasi. So your mother is not doing that, right? Service downstairs. That's good. So do thou fight for the sake of fighting without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat. And by doing so, you shall never incur sin. So this is Lord Krishna talking based on the objections raised by Arjuna. Arjuna raised objections on four counts actually. One is compassion. He wants to be compassionate. Enjoyment. He's saying if everybody dies, how will I enjoy? Destruction of family tradition, because family traditions will be destroyed if there is no menfolk to supervise the families, and no pinda pradana for the forefathers. And then fear of sinful reactions and saintliness. So he is saintly as well as fear of sinful reactions. Due to these four reasons, he says, I don't want to fight. So yeah, please read the purport in English.
Yeah, Lord Krishna now directly says that Arjuna should fight for the sake of fighting because he desires the battle. There is no consideration of happiness or distress, profit or loss, victory or defeat in the activities of Krishna consciousness. That everything should be performed for the sake of Krishna is transcendental consciousness. So there is no reaction to material activities. He who acts for his own sense gratification as in goodness or in passion is subject to the reaction good or bad. But he who has completely surrendered himself in the activities of Krishna consciousness is no longer obliged to anyone, nor is he a debtor to anyone, as one is in the ordinary course of activities, it is said. Should I read the...
Yeah, let me read that. Devarshi bhuta parinam pitranam na kinkaro nayam rinicha rajan sarvatma yasaranam sharanyam gato mukundam parihartya kartam.
Anyone who has completely surrendered unto Krishna Mukunda, giving up all other duties, is no longer a debtor, nor is he obliged to anyone, not the demigods, nor the sages, nor the people in general, nor kinsmen, or nor humanity, nor forefathers. That is the incident hint given by Krishna to Arjuna in this verse, and the matter will be more clearly explained in the following verses.
Hmm. So, anyone who is completely surrendered to Krishna, giving up all their duties, is no longer a debtor. Normally, we think, okay, I have responsibility to this, responsibility to that, to family, to state, to society. But if one is fully surrendered, he is no longer a debtor. But if one is not a fully surrendered, he should not run away unnecessarily. So here Arjuna is giving material reasons to run away. Right? If the reasons are spiritual, then it's okay. Yeah.
But even if you surrender, he's asking you to do the duty, right, Prabhu?
For him, he asked him to do the duty.
So for us too, like for everybody,
It depends. It depends. That's why you need a spiritual master to guide based on the degree of surrender and our propensity and our situation also. Based on our situation, advice will be given. Usually, the general advice is for grihasthas to finish the grihasthas till the age of 50 and then gradually exit out. Right? If you are not married, you are a brahmachari, then the advice is different. You cannot all of a sudden just uproot yourself just like that. You're not supposed to. Right? But even amongst grihasthas, if somebody is like very, very advanced, he's already thinking in that platform, there are a few rare people like that. Then for them, the advice is okay, somebody else will take care of your family. You dedicate yourself fully to Krishna's mission. Like that. There are a few people like that.
It all depends on how much faith they have. And
Faith, ability to sustain devotion service. Some people may just want to run away from their wife. That's why they'll say, okay, I'll do this. That is not it. So, Srila Prabhupada, when one person went and said, I don't like my wife, I want to take sannyas, he said no. Somebody else said, I like my wife, but I want to take sannyas. He said yes. Because your situation is that you are already advanced. You're not trying to run away from something. It's case by case basis. It's not like, okay, um, talak, talak, talak. Three times you say talak and get rid of your wife. That is possibility, right? There's some Hindus have converted to Muslim, said talak three times, divorced their wife, and again converted back to Hinduism.
It happened like
Oh, it is some cases like that, yeah. So there are people, whenever there is some loophole, people will use that loophole. So here, for Arjuna, he is giving the complete knowledge, but he's saying at this moment you have to fight. But then after fighting and winning, what did they do? They waited for the grandson to be born. Grandson was grown up to whatever 20-ish age. They crowned Parikshit as the king, and then they said, okay, now it's enough. Now I'll renounce. So all of them went on Swarga, Rohana Parva, like basically, walking in the Himalayas, and then they just went like that. Yeah. You didn't know this in Mahabharata towards the end? Yeah, they crown their grandson and then they go. Parikshit Maharaj, and then they walk into Himalayas, basically. And then slowly, one after the other, they drop dead. That is there in the Swarga Rohana Parva. Parva means that section of Mahabharata.
Varnashram.
Not, yeah, they were following Varnashram Dharma even before. But I'm saying they said finally, okay, now we'll go to the renunciation part. So, yeah, you will not be asked to suddenly renounce because you're not capable of sustaining it, right? Suppose you'll say, okay, I'll renounce.
Because some people they think it's the easy way out, right?
It's not, it's very difficult
I
actually.
understand, Prabhu, but
Yeah.
yeah, but they think okay, we can get out of all this responsibility, right? So
Yeah, you may last for 1 week or 2 weeks, that's about it. Then again, because your heart is towards material things, you'll come back. It's not a question of Maya, it's our mind itself is so contaminated. So typically we tend to blame Maya, but our mind itself is contaminated. That's the problem. Our anarthas will bring us back. Maya applies to advanced devotees, not to, because we are already in Maya. So where is the question of her applying anything more to us? But for advanced devotees, she'll apply that. She'll try to tempt them with something, like Haridas Thakur in Chaitanya Charitamrita. She tempts him with certain things. But for us, we are already tempted, so there is no question of further tempting. Right? So that's why for us it is pilgrimage. So we go on a pilgrimage. So at least for the 20 days we are away from unnecessary attachments. Then we go to some pilgrimage and then we come back and we continue our journey like that. But what people do sometimes they go on pilgrimage. There also they want to stay in a star hotel. Like in the expensive car, they have to go from place to place. Then it's no longer a pilgrimage. Right? That's also a problem. Okay, let's go to the next verse. एषते विहिता साङ्ख्ये
एषते विहिता साङ्ख्ये
बुद्धिर्योगत्व इमं शृणु
बुद्धिर्योगत्व इमं शृणु
बुद्ध्या युक्तो यया पार्थ
बुद्ध्या युक्तो यया पार्थ
कर्मबन्धं प्रहास्यसि.
कर्मबन्धं प्रहास्यसि.
So Ramesh, read now.
Purport.
Translation.
Translation. Thus far, I have described this knowledge to you through analytical study. Now listen as I explain it in terms of working without fruitive results. O son of Pritha, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of works. Purport by Srila Prabhupada.
Jai.
According to the Nirukti or the Vedic dictionary, Sankhya means that which describes things in detail, and Sankhya refers to that philosophy which describes the real nature of the soul, and yoga involves controlling the senses. Arjuna's proposal not to fight was based on sense gratification. Forgetting his prime duty, he wanted to cease fighting because he thought that by not killing his relatives and kinsmen, he would be happier than by enjoying the kingdom after conquering his cousins and brothers, the sons of Dhritarashtra. In both ways, the basic principles were for sense gratification. Happiness derived from conquering them, and happiness derived by seeing kinsmen alive are both on the basis of personal sense
So this is the
gratification.
key point, right? If you win, then you are happy. Or if you see your family members and kinsmen and relatives, Hare Krishna, alive, that is also happiness. But that happiness is based on selfishness. Oh, I want my grandfather to be alive. I want my brother to be alive. Duryodhana is his brother only, right? And ultimately his cousin. That is also selfishness, because they are assembled on the battlefield to reinstate dharma, and he is putting his own selfish reasons that I don't want to kill my relatives. So when it comes to dharma, even if you're a relative, if he has the fellow has broken dharma, you have to punish him. And in this case, punishment is battle. Hmm? So basically, this seeing kinsmen or seeing relatives alive is also sense gratification. Sense gratification means indriya tripti. Our eyes, ears, tongue, taste, all these senses will be happy. Why do you call your friends and relatives home? Because they give you some pleasure, right? There's some happiness in calling them and so on, right? So here in this case, is not killing his kinsmen or relatives is also sense gratification. So sense gratification does not have to be gross, like drinking alcohol or eating meat, or those are things are forbidden by scriptures. Eating meat, fish or eggs, alcohol, alcohol is intoxication, illicit sex or gambling. These are prohibited because they're on the gross platform. But some people may be able to give up those four bad things, but still the mind could have those what qualities. That's what 2.62, 2.63, remember that? 258 through 265. Anybody remember?
We didn't cover.
We didn't cover yet. Okay, yeah. So we are coming to that. So Krishna is guiding us gradually. So there is a description of how the senses are to be controlled. So here Srila Prabhupada has just introduced the personal sense gratification concept. That my indriya tripti. Right? Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
A little digression. You mentioned about eggs, so that's always a question that I have.
Hmm.
The eggs which are not fertilized, why is it because they're tamasic or
They're tamasic actually. Once you have anything tamasic in your body, your devotional life will be slowed down. Like we know this, how we know this when we go on Nagar Sankirtan, people who are walking out of restaurants, they don't take books. They're already in that depressed mode. Their spirituality is depressed. But people who are just woken up, taken a bath and come, they are more likely. They'll immediately take a book. They will give a donation like that. You see the difference. So eating eggs is also tamasic. Meat, fish, and eggs is tamasic. Yeah.
so maybe I'm nitpicking, but like in Ayurveda when they, and I've not read it all, so I shouldn't be saying that. But usually they say meat or onions or garlic. They have specified the food items. So where could we find reference to the egg, or is it just covered in a blanket?
Egg is what? Plasma, right? Plasma in which, if fertilized, a living entity is going to come. It's plasma, so it is living. So you should not consume it. That's all it is. Fertilized or not fertilized, still it's capable of generating. If you crack open again and leave it, thousands of bacteria will come there. It is capable of supporting life. So you should not. It's like a womb, right? It's like a mother's womb. You don't artificially go and pull out the womb.
So someone was making an argument around the animal cells, and they were saying milk has more animal cells than the egg, which is a unicell or something they were saying.
Could be. But we follow what scriptures say. Because milk is the blood of cow. So you're actually drinking the blood of cow, but it's in the form of milk. Therefore, it is palatable. So when it's giving milk every day, when she is giving milk every day, why do you have to kill it? Because people who want to eat meat are actually drinking the blood in one form. People are drinking milk is drinking them in a different form. It's still living. Milk is living. If you leave it on the countertop, again a lot of bacteria will come. But scriptures recommend this form rather than that form. That's it. So we follow what scriptures say. Because, if a baby is killed in the tummy, modern science says it's abortion. But when they come out and you kill the small baby living in the hot car somebody left recently, right? It is considered murder. You'll be put in jail for 15 years. But the same baby when in the womb, you are not put in because these are artificial divisions. So therefore, we have to follow what scriptures say. Scriptures say, in the womb it's living, outside is living. Both is murder.
Plus again the food, like when we say milk, also we offer it to the Lord and then we are
Yeah, that's a slightly advanced concept. So when we offer foods that Krishna takes, then it's okay. Right? Krishna doesn't take mushroom, onion, eggs, meat, fish, none of that he takes. So therefore we don't. Somebody once in the ISKCON movement early days, somebody said, can we have seaweed? Seaweed is vegetarian. Seaweed is what? Just grass, right? Yeah, you can take it for medicinal purposes, but don't eat on a regular basis because it's not prescribed in the scriptures. So you can take it like a capsule for your thyroid or something like that. But don't make like everyday seaweed soup and.
So is it not prescribed? I mean, prescribed as in against? Is it prescribed against? Or?
It's not. I don't see any reference for against seaweed, but there is nothing for seaweed.
For either, okay.
So there are so many beautiful dishes described in the scriptures. They're all made out of rice, wheat, millet, ragi, bajra, all those things. Nowhere there is mentioned seaweed or oak tree bark. Those are all medicinal properties, so you should take that as a medicine. Not like, oh, because a little bit is good, like now I'll start making oak tree sabji or something. Actually, even here, there are so many oak trees that nobody makes any sabji or anything like that, right? Because there are certain things prescribed and certain things are very tasty. So why go for stuff that is not very tasty? Technically, even human stool has a lot of properties, right? There's a lot of strength. That's why pigs eat them and they become very fat. Doesn't mean humans will go and eat. Even though it is delicious for some other living entity. So scriptures have given certain things to be eaten, certain things not to be eaten. That's it. Done story.
that again brings up relativity, like for us stool is so gross, but that same thing for pigs.
Yeah, that's why the life of a pig is very low. It doesn't have much brain. Right? That's why when regardless of the culture, if you have to denigrate someone, you compare them with a pig, right? You say, pig, suwar ki aulad, like Muslims will say. Because it's low class, right? I mean, it's a known fact, so you don't have to really research into it. So the things is, everything can be researched, but all the research has already been done. We just have to follow it. If you follow certain things, it is good. People will say, oh, Jesus had wine during the Last Supper, therefore I'll drink wine every day. But if you look at the whole life of Jesus, how many times did he have wine? Very little. And now, every day people are drinking wine. Even for Barnes and Noble has started wine, today's news. Have you seen it? Barnes and Noble bookstore and wine. So that if you drink more wine, then your ability to study goes down. It is called cannibalization idea. So they will dig their own grave. Huh?
The most funny one I find is Whole Foods.
Yeah.
Like they'll say the healthiest food chain in America, and you keep going and suddenly you start finding alcohol.
Yeah. It's not healthy food, no. They will even sell marijuana very soon. Because it's legal now, right? They'll say this is whole marijuana. Organic or some nonsense like that. Socially responsible, non-GMO, but it will take you to hell. You will die soon. Yeah, see that's the thing, right? Scriptures don't recommend eating marijuana, although marijuana is sold in biscuits in California. You may say, oh, it's sold in California, but show the evidence in scriptures. You're not supposed to eat that. Because it's not good for you. Simple as that. Right? There were some people who will say, but God created everything. He created tea leaves, He created marijuana leaves. So what is the difference? He created spinach. So one day I'll take spinach, one day I'll take tea, one day I'll take marijuana. No, but they're different categories. One is stimulant, one is depressant, one is healthy, antioxidant. There's a difference between the three. So you take the two bad things out, stop tea and marijuana, and take more spinach. It will make you like the Popeyes, no? Get muscle. Spinach is actually very good antioxidant. So that's recommended. Patram pushpam phalam thoyam. Fruits, vegetables, grains, milk, water. Those things are recommended, yeah.
There was a joke on that for what you were saying that Jesus created everything, or God created. So the counter argument someone gives is, and he also created brains, so why don't we use
Yeah,
it?
yeah, exactly. He created ring. Now, this is what actually Tamal Krishna Maharaj, whose birthday we are celebrating today. He said God gave you intelligence, so you should use that too. It's not like, okay, even blind following is not allowed. You have to use your intelligence in line with the scriptures and with the guidance of an acharya. Acharyas, where do they get knowledge? Again, they also get from scriptures. But scripture is a dull book, whereas an acharya is walking and living, right? So he will be able to explain it to you. Otherwise, if I give each one of you, if I ask you to read one verse and understand, each one of you will have one interpretation. That's why Srila Prabhupada gave commentary, and you have somebody like me trying to explain what that is. Right? That's the problem, because our background is different, right? Each one of our background is different. Somebody may be a carpenter. For him, anything to do with carpentry, that thing will be very, very relevant, even in scriptures. Somebody may be a finance, for them, any talk about dharma, artha, kama, moksha, he'll forget dharma, kama, moksha. He'll say artha, money, money, money. Okay, because Krishna said that. Like 22 years ago in University of Alabama, I studied there, my masters. So one person was saying, so one person was asking, why are you always chasing after girls? He said, Jesus said in Bible. I said, what did he say? Man does not live by bread alone. What is Jesus's context? He said, man does not live by bread alone. He also needs spiritual knowledge. And this fellow twisted it. Man does not live by bread alone. He also needs to, run after all these, women or men or whatever. Previously, men used to run after women. Nowadays, men are running after men and women are running after women too. The world has changed so much. Crazy world it has become. So that's why scriptural knowledge is very important, because scriptures somebody has already experimented, they have documented. Now you have to implement. If you re-experiment means that is jnana yoga. Jnana, basically not even jnana yoga. You'll spend the next 40 years reinventing the wheel, and then one fine day we'll die. So when do you have time to implement? Right? So somebody has experimented, somebody has documented, you implement to the best of your ability. That's it. And there's no need to question actually. Why do you want to have egg? The same protein, if you take tofu and you put it on a flat pan with little light oil and leave it for like 15-20 minutes, it becomes very strong protein actually. You try eating that. It's very, very strong protein.
I was just asking because
Concentrate. No, I understand.
People give that
People
argument.
give you every argument. They'll say, oh, Lord Shiva also smoked ganja. So what should you tell him?
Try the
He did
poison.
lot of other
Yeah,
things.
Lord Shiva also drank poison.
things.
Here's some poison you also drink. Lord Shiva may have done that, but he also drank poison to save all the devatas. And he was still alive. He just had a blue throat. So the poison was just stopped here. It is said that Parvati Devi put her hand like this so that the poison just stayed there. But it doesn't matter for us whether poison stays here or stays here, will be dead. So these are all great arguments people will give. Lord Shiva has done it. Yeah, but he's Lord Shiva. You are nobody. You'll be finished in no time. Right? We cannot handle it actually. Our body cannot handle even slight variation in temperature. People die, kids die when they are in a hot car. If you don't keep the windows little lowered, the temperature rises and kids are dying. So many stories I hear in newspaper. We cannot handle anything actually. We are very, very weak. So better follow what scriptures are telling us. That's it. Yeah, please read.
In both ways, the basic principles were for sense gratification. Happiness derived from conquering them and happiness derived from seeing kinsmen alive are both on the basis of personal sense gratification, even at a sacrifice of wisdom and duty. Lord Krishna therefore wanted to explain to Arjuna that by killing the body of his grandfather, he would not be killing the soul proper. And he explained that all individual persons, including the Lord himself, are eternal individuals. They are individuals in the past, they are individuals in the present, and they will continue to remain individuals in the future because all of us are individual souls eternally. We simply change our bodily dress in different manners, but actually we keep our individuality even after liberation from the bondage of material dress. An analytical study of the soul and the body has been very graphically explained by Lord Krishna, and this descriptive knowledge of the soul and the body from different angles of vision has been described here as Sankhya in terms of Nirukti dictionary.
So Nirukti dictionary is a Sanskrit dictionary in which it's actually very very small, because in Sanskrit there is a word and the context. So dharma has 33 meanings in 33 contexts. Some words have 60 meanings depending upon the context. So that's why it is not like Webster's dictionary like this. It's very very thin. So you look at the context, you look at the word, and the meaning comes. Right? So it's a very very compact language. That's why there's a research in University of Washington on Sanskrit for compilers. University of Washington is top 5 in the nation for computer science, and they are researching on Sanskrit. How can it be used for compilers like that?
It's the most optimized language.
Optimized language, yeah, yeah, very optimized. English is very loose language. You can get away with saying anything in English actually, but in Sanskrit you cannot get away. Right? Sankhya means counting. So anything that is countable or counted is called Sankhya philosophy. So in Sankhya philosophy, everything is measured by a number. So there are 5 elements: Bhumi, Apo, Nalo, Vayu, Kham. Earth, water, fire, air, ether. There are 5 senses: sense of sight, sense of hearing, sense of taste. Like everything is counted. So what is the point is being made here? Lord Krishna is explaining through Sankhya, through Dhyana, through knowledge. But he will explain it later using other medium also. So Sankhya or Jnana is at actually a very somewhat elementary level actually. It's not at a very high level. Not at a very high level. But Krishna is taking Arjuna through a gradual journey. Chapter 2 is the summary. He just gave like an outline. And then Arjuna starts asking, what about this? What about this? What about this? So in chapter 3 he talks about karma, action. And chapter 4 he talks about Jnana. Chapter 5 he talks about Krishna karma. Chapter 6 he talks about Dhyana. Chapter 7 he talks about, what does he talk about? Attaining the absolute, yeah, bhakti. And then chapter 8 he talks about how to leave the body, attaining the supreme. Yeah, like art of dying. Art of dying is chapter 8. Right? Chapter 11 is Vishwarupa. Chapter 10 is, look at the table of contents. What is chapter 10? Where he talks about all the devotees and devotional qualities and devotional service. What is it called?
Opulence of the absolute.
Opulence of the absolute. So the absolute truth, Parabrahman, has some qualities. He describes those qualities, and he also describes the qualities of devotees. Like that, you go through a gradual journey in this case. What is chapter 9?
Most confident.
Most confident.
Yeah. So he gives some confidential knowledge in chapter 7 and most confidential knowledge in chapter 9. Some confidential knowledge in 7, more confidential in 8, and most in 9.
The other day when Prabhuji was giving lecture in the temple, so he was saying like he was giving the analogy of sandwich where you have 2 breads.
Yeah.
And then
So
you-
basically first 6 is the step-by-step process of yoga. Last 6 is understanding of the material nature. The cream is always in the middle. So middle 6 chapters are the cream, where Lord's opulence and the devotee's qualities are described. Right? So it's like a gradual ladder, yoga ladder, karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, ashtanga yoga, like that, and finally bhakti yoga. Then you reach a plateau of devotional service, and then there is more knowledge of the world from chapter 13. The three modes of material nature, right? Chapter 13. So like that, step by step, it will.
I have one question. There are like five elements that are explained in Bhagavad Gita. So where is the time aspect covered?
Yeah, it is covered in Bhagavad Gita only. Kalosmi, he says. We'll come to that. So no hurry. Bhagavad Gita is 5 topics. Ishvara, Jiva, Kala. Ishvara means God. Jiva means us. Kala means time. Karma means action. Prakriti means nature. What activities does a Jiva does in the nature during Kala is called karma under the supervision of the Supreme Lord. That's it. All we are doing is within time, we are just moving here and there and performing karma under the supervision of the Lord. And karma results in more karma. So you have to get rid of karma. When you get rid of karma, you go back.
And time also is eternal. It's what?
Time is eternal, therefore, because we are eternal, so time has to be eternal, right? How can a non-eternal container carry an eternal soul? So time also has to be eternal. Krishna is time. So eternal souls are placed in eternal time by eternal Krishna, so that we can eternally perform karma and get stuck here, or escape from this and go back. Hare Krishna. So we can do one of the two. So we are in chapter 2, verse 39. Yeah, please read.
This Samkhya has nothing to do with Samkhya philosophy of the atheist Kapila. Long before the impostor Kapila's Samkhya, the Samkhya philosophy was expounded in the Srimad Bhagavatam by the true Lord Kapila, the incarnation of Lord Krishna, who explained it to his mother Devahuti. It is clearly explained by him that the Purusha or the Supreme Lord is active and that he creates by looking over the Prakriti. This is accepted in the Vedas and in the Bhagavad Gita. The description in the Vedas indicates that the Lord glanced over the Prakriti or nature and impregnated it with atomic individual souls. All these individuals are working in the material world for sense gratification, and under the spell of material energy, they are thinking of being enjoyers. This mentality is dragged to the last point of liberation when the living entity wants to become one with the Lord.
Yeah, so this is a very important point. Under spell of Maya, we think we are enjoying. Actually, we are not. We are being enjoyed by the Lord. And this is for ordinary people, right? They will want to just enjoy. But for somebody who is a little spiritual, who is a little advanced in knowledge and all that, they want to take this one step further. They want to take this enjoyment propensity to become one with the Lord. So they want to just go and merge with the Lord or become the Lord themselves, like that. So you'll hear some people claiming that they are God under the illusory effect of Maya. So they think that they have become God. But no matter how many yogic processes you do, you cannot become God. The avatars of the Lord are predefined in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And if they don't fit into that mold, then they are not avatars. So this is the last snare of Maya. What Maya will say, okay, I tried to tempt you with women, you didn't get. I tried to tempt you with money, you didn't get. I tried to tempt you with this or that. You didn't fall trap to any one of this. So in the end, she will put a trap. She'll say, maybe you are God. Right? And since this fellow is spiritual, he is very pure already. So in that last snare of Maya, instead of going to the spiritual world to serve God, he will think, I have become God, and he will continue to stay in the material world. So he's about to take off. The rocket is about to take off. All the fun, countdown has begun. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. And then Maya says, maybe you are God. So this fellow now will start his God business. He'll say, I have become God. And he will expect all his disciples to worship him. And
So is that another attempt to test?
yeah, it is another attempt, right? Yeah, basically. That's why I'm saying Maya's snare. Snare means attraction. So snare means also a trap. Like to catch a rabbit, you put a snare. So Maya's snare is to just grab hold of the jiva before he takes off. The rocket is about to go, but she grabs, kachak, and the fellow is trapped here. And he will have, because he has been so pious, he'll get a lot of powers actually. Like, like Sai Baba takes out Vibhuti and all that. All those are good powers. But they are using it for self-aggrandizement, to show how great they are. But what's my point in, like, for example, if I put you in a jail and you are very eloquent in talking, and all of the fellow jail members will elect you to be jail president, doesn't mean you have become president of America. You're still in the jail. Every day, in a small lota, you'll get some bread. Right? You have not become anything special just because your neighbors have called you special. You're still there. Maybe you get some respect, that's all. So people crave for respect, the soul craves for respect, so it gets trapped. It can happen to you too. It can happen to me. It can happen to any one of us. So you have to be careful.
So, Prabhu, how does the Lord's mercy and Maya, because both of them seems to be in opposite directions.
Both sides of the same, two sides of the same coin. See, Lord's mercy is coming. Lord is standing there and saying, Sarva dharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam vraja. You leave all kinds of activities and simply surrender to me. And on the Lord's backside, Maya Devi is hiding. She's saying, peekaboo. And you're saying, oh, what is it? Mercedes Benz. And then you fall for it. That's it. It's not like they're two different things. They're both energies of the Lord. One energy is trying to bring you close to Him. The other energy is trying to see how serious you are. She's not trying to scare you away. So Maya Devi doesn't scare you away. She just tempts you to see how serious you are. How can Lord's energy scare you away from the Lord? No, she's not scaring you away. She's just testing you to see how serious you are. If you're not serious, they'll say, okay, you have to stay here for some more time. For one more lifetime, two more lifetimes. Or at least this lifetime you are not going back. That much she ensures. But then if you pass the test, then she'll say, okay, boss, come. Right? She'll open the door and say, okay, welcome. You have to pass the test first. But mostly we fail the test. Why? Because we complain Maya Devi has done something. No, it is who asked you to jump into the pit? Maya Devi said there is a pit there. There is gold coin there. If you want to jump, who is jumping? We are jumping. She's not pushing you. Is she pushing you? No. She's tempting you. That's all.
So,
Right?
Prabhu, somewhere I read Prabhupada's, I don't know if it was Prabhupada said it or someone was, some Prabhuji was telling about what Prabhupada initiated. And there was a term, sentence, in our waging our war over Maya, or something like that.
Yeah.
So
Even my
makes
Guru
sense.
Maharaj's book, Speaking Strongly, she says, this is a war.
That's where I
This is a war. Maybe you read in that book only. It is a war actually. Isn't it a war?
Against
Because she's continuously tempting. She has 10 hands. She has different kinds of weapons. She will tempt you with any one weapon. Right? If she cannot catch you with one, she'll try to catch you with the second. If she cannot catch you with the second, she'll catch you with the third. So the temptation is always there. Maya Devi's hands are always full. She's tempting you in various angles. It is a war actually. Because even though she is the energy of the Lord, unless you pass all of her tests, you cannot go forward. So she has, think of like a 10-stage game. Any stage you can fall into the pit and scorpions will bite you or alligators will grab you. Then isn't it a war? You have to pass one, pass two, pass three, pass four, pass five.
But one good thing is like whatever progress you make in this life,
You made some progress in your last life, that's why you're sitting here. Otherwise, why would you be sitting here, right? It's not possible, right? There are so many snares of Maya, cricket, right? You don't have to be grossly like drinking alcohol in downtown bar. There are other lightweight ways also she will tempt you. Or she will ask you to write some test or something like that, so to get better at your career, some certification exam. You will say, Prabhuji, I don't have time for Bhagavad Gita, I'll go write the test. Even after writing the test, same situation. You still have to go through this. Right? This is never ending. It's never ending, actually. Yeah.
So, like I've been tested by Maya, and I failed sometimes, you know. So, is there a chance for me?
Why not? Everybody has a chance.
Okay. So
Jesus was tested by Maya too. You know the story where he goes to that mountain, he was
yeah,
tempted.
the desert and all that.
Yeah, all that is. People use different terms like Satan, this, that. You can use your own language, but every spiritualist is tested. So if you're not tested, then you're not doing something, right? If you're doing something, you will be tested. See, there are two kinds of people just before the examination. One fellow has not studied anything. He'll be like totally bindas. I don't have any problems, right? He'll be so cool because he knows he's going to fail anyways. But the fellow who is borderline, if he devotes 2 more hours until instead of sleeping at midnight, if he sleeps at 2 a.m. and he studies 4 more questions, he has a chance of passing. That fellow is working hard. So how do you know that he's working hard? He was about to fail, but he just managed to pass. Right? So if you give up even before the battle starts, then you lost. You just gave up. But if you're trying to fight, both the Lord is noticing, Mayadev is noticing, you are noticing that you're trying. Everybody is noticing that you are trying. So we should at least give it a shot. Right? So the fact that you feel that you are being tested means it's a good thing. So you have to now pass the test.
I have specifically been tested and I have specifically failed.
That's okay. You try again.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before becoming president, whose story is this? Lincoln or one of the president's story? There's a list of 23 failures. He tried to become a mayor, he failed, then he became a mayor. Then he tried to become something, he failed, then became a senator. He tried to become something else, he failed, and again he became that. Finally, he becomes the president of the United States, like that. So he fails 23 times. So people use that as an example. Failure is the pillar for success, stepping stone for success. Anyway, that is a material example, but you get the idea. That's okay if you fail, if I fail. Keep on trying. Utsaha, Nishchaya, Dhairyat. Rupa Goswami says in the Nectar of Devotion. Utsaha, enthusiasm, Nishchaya, determination, Dhairyat, tolerance, patience, and the ability to fight. These are required. Tat tat karma pravartanat. These are the krama pravartanats. These are the steps. You have to go through these things. You have to just. If you do it, your success is assured. Actually, is it easy to even come to America? No, you have to go through so many things. Visa, this, that. Is it easy to get a bachelor's degree? No. You have to pass so many tests, right? In my 4 years undergraduate engineering semester system, each semester had 5 exams, 3 labs. So 8 semesters, 8 times 4, 5, 40 written tests and 24 labs I had to pass to come to Bachelor of Engineering. It's not easy. Same thing here. You have to go through so. This is the ultimate goal, so it should be even more difficult, right? If it is too easy, then you'll complain. It is so easy. It is even easier than UW. So no, you have to go through those steps. But this is a sweet process, right? It's not like a very torturous process. It's a sweet process. As you're doing one thing, you go into the next level, and then you feel more bliss. Then you have more enthusiasm to do more things. Then you get more bliss. Then you have enthusiasm to do more things. You get even more bliss. So when you get more bliss, you don't feel like somebody doesn't have to tell you do it. You'll feel like doing it. And you keep passing the tests that Mayadevi poses.
Prabhuji, here they have mentioned about Lord Kapila and Mother Devahuti.
Mm-hmm.
So,
In the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a story about Devahuti
what
and Kapila Muni.
that incarnation,
Lord's incarnation as Kapila, he gives the Sankhya philosophy, the 24 elements of the universe. Bhumi, Apo, Nalo, Yavi, earth, water, fire, air, ether. Right? Kammano, Buddhirevacha, mind, intelligence, false ego. The 10 sense objects, the 10 senses. Right? Sorry, 5 sense objects and 5 senses. So that makes it 10. Then there are 5 karmendriya, like legs, hands, genitals, anus, for doing certain things for this body. The body has to function, right? So they're called karmendriyas. Then there are 5 gyanendriyas. Gyanendriyas has touch, taste, smell, hearing, sight. These are gyanendriyas because they acquire knowledge. Karmendriyas are like a robot. So we are a robot, right? Krishna says, Yantra Rudani Mayaya. We are a machine. And this machine is running on Maya. Just like you have the streetcar in Seattle, you have 2 poles on the electricity. It draws electricity and keeps moving. The same way this machine is moving on Maya. Maya is actually transporting you from point A to point B. And then these knowledge acquiring senses are inputs, sensing organization. Then there is some paraphernalia, machinery to do karma activities, move forward and back. Then there is the soul after all these things. And then there is the super soul. So this is Samkhya philosophy. So Kapila Muni is explaining all this very nicely. So we have to go on.
Who's the imposter Kapila he's talking about?
What happened is the original Kapila came long ago, thousands of years ago. At least more than 5,000 years ago. And then imposter Kapila came fairly recently. So what he did, he took that knowledge, just like most of us do. You take some knowledge from some book and then you add your own masala and then you change it. So the imposter Kapila changed it, which is no longer authorized knowledge.
He was an atheist.
He was an atheist. See, you can take Bhagavad Gita and you can prove atheist philosophy also. That's the problem, right? If you don't have proper guidance, you'll come to the wrong conclusion. You're reading the same book. Same book, you'll come to the wrong conclusion. That's why we should read like this. In a group of devotees, then you will not come to wrong conclusions.
So, Prabhu, I had a question on being an atheist. So, there was that Charak Swami or
Charvaka.
Charvaka. He was an
Charvaka Muni. A Muni means, Muni is one who has slightly difference of opinion from other Munis. Just like modern day scientists. You are not considered a great scientist or a researcher if you present the same thing that, suppose you are in UW and you are presenting the same knowledge that is being presented in University of Denver, Colorado. Then they'll say, what is so special about you? So you have to add something to it. A twist. There should be some contribution. Same thing with Munis. You have to have your own point of view. That's why to differ from some other Muni, these people will come up with a unique concept. And in trying to come up with a unique concept, they become atheistic because they will change things.
But I've seen him being quoted in different books by different Prabhujis.
Which who?
Charvaka.
Charvaka, there was a Charvaka, the Ayurvedic physician also.
Oh, probably.
This is different. This is an atheistic Charvaka whose primary philosophy is Bhasmipata Deham Kutastha. After burning the body, what happens? You're all gone. So their view is there is no concept of soul and there is no necessity of soul. There's difference. So you have to be very careful there.
Yeah, I think
He preaches that there is no necessity of a soul. And Krishna so loudly says, and even our practical experience is the dead body doesn't have soul, right? You can inject so many chemicals if you want, but it does not come to life. Which means the soul has left the body. Therefore, the body doesn't move. No consciousness.
pretty amazing. He was still given a upadhi of Muni.
Muni means scientist, right? Muni means research scientist. A Muni is somebody who differs from other Munis in some aspect. Their base knowledge is the same, the Vedas, but then they have to add one little, to get your doctorate, you have to extend the theory a little bit. So they also extend the theory a little bit. Like that. Yeah. But the less they extend, the better it is for them. The more they stick to the Vedic knowledge, the better it is for them. Any other questions? Yeah, please read.
All these individuals are working in the material world for sense gratification, and under the spell of material energy, they are thinking of being enjoyers. This mentality is dragged to the last point of liberation when living entity wants to become one with the Lord. This is the last snare of Maya or sense gratificatory illusion, and it is only after many, many births of such sense gratificatory activities that a great soul surrenders unto Vasudev, Lord Krishna, thereby fulfilling the search after the ultimate truth.
See, Prabhupada is saying after many, many births. So we don't know which birth we are in. And whether we'll surrender fully in this lifetime also, we don't know, right? That's the point. So, Krishna's standard is one has to surrender unto him and get rid of the self gratificatory attitude. And our position is we want to squeeze out that last juice from that chewing gum, which has already gone stale half an hour ago. We're trying to punah charvana charvananam. This material world is like you're trying to extract the juice. Maybe there is some other juice. Maybe if I go to Seattle, I'll be happy. Maybe if I go to Portland, I'll be happy. We're continuously trying to extract that last drop, but the drop doesn't exist. Hmm? So a great soul surrenders after many such births. So there is this verse that is coming up. It's called Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanavam Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sadurlabha. So such a Mahatma or a great soul is very rare who thinks Vasudeva is everything. Hmm? Bahunam Janmanamante. So after many, many births, Bahunam Janma, many, many births. Jnanavam Mam Prapadyate. So people who have a little bit of knowledge will try to take to this path. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. That the Supreme Lord is everything. Samatma Sadurlabha. So such a person is rare. So you have to take many, many lives. It's not necessary, but typically people do take many
Like
lives.
Mahatma's Durlabha is like it's
Durlabha means rare. Mahatma means a great Atma. That's all it is. Yeah, please read.
Arjuna has already accepted Krishna as his spiritual master by surrendering himself unto him. Shishya
Teham sadimam tvam prapannam.
Prapanna. Consequently, Krishna will now tell him about the working process in Buddhi Yoga or Karma Yoga, or in other words, the practice of devotional service only for the sense gratification of the Lord.
So instead of taking care of our senses, we take care of the Lord's senses. So when you do arti, you're doing it for the Lord's pleasure. When you're doing arti like this, when you're cleaning his temple or washing the dishes, you are doing it for his pleasure. So his senses are happy now. He says, he looks and says, oh, so good person, like that. So it's better his senses be satisfied than our senses be satisfied. Because our senses satisfied means what? It has a beginning and it has an end. Every sense gratification, like you watch a movie, right? Movie starts, movie ends. After that, pain remains. So you have to go for Tylenol or Motrin because you'll have a headache. So sense gratification, that's why people what they do, they first do some tea or coffee, then they'll drink alcohol. It's not sufficient, then they will go take drugs. For some time it seems okay, then it's not sufficient, then they'll take something high level drugs, and one fine day they'll just die, right? You'll see some news that Michael Jackson overdose of medicine and he's finished. Even this Prince guy who recently died, he was taking Percocet, which is also a depressant, and he died due to overdose of that.
Bruce Springsteen died?
Prince, the
Prince,
yeah,
yeah.
recently 2 months ago or 1 month ago.
Oh, he had some drugs, huh?
No, he was taking prescription medicine, Percocet.
Oh, yeah?
When you have pain, you take Percocet, right? When you're doing surgery, on a surgery, to forget the pain, you take Percocet. This fellow was given Percocet for something else and finish.
That's true. Like that drugs, it's very like some of the drugs that they prescribe for the pain and all. It's addictive and
It's addictive.
dangerous.
Even your common cold medicine is addictive. That's why you cannot buy it under the age of 18, you cannot even buy it. This country is also, this country and several countries are very strange. If you're under 18, you should be protected. But after 18, you can kill yourself. So what? You're a free country, right? My daughter came from school one day and said, "It's a free country." I said, "Yeah, it's a free country. You can do anything, but the consequence is yours." Like Prince died, right in front of us, and Michael Jackson died a few years ago due to drug abuse, basically. So the sense gratification has a beginning and an end. Our sense gratification is useless because it will only crave for more. I want more, 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 more. So better thing is just cut it. Say, I won't give you. It'll yell for some time. After that, it'll calm down. It'll yell for some time, right? I want to see the... No, no, no. Okay, done.
Prabhu,
Yeah.
here Prabhupada is saying in the purport Buddhi Yoga or Karma Yoga. In other words, the practice of devotional service only for sense gratification of the Lord. What's the difference in Bhakti Yoga? And I thought this sounds
Bhakti
like
is Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. No other Abhilasha. In Karma Yoga, you're doing activities, but you are dovetailing it to the pleasure of the Lord. Okay? You like doing finance, but you become a financial controller for the temple. You like weaving baskets, so you weave baskets for Ananda Mela. You're still doing activity for the Lord. Whereas Bhakti, pure Bhakti Yoga is Anya Abhilashita Shunyam. No Abhilasha. I don't want any credit. People can spit at me, that's okay. People can praise me, that's okay too.
so. What would your activities be like?
Same activities. Activities are always the same. You still have to walk, you still have to talk. Right? We can now talk about Amitabh Bachchan, or we can talk about Krishna. Talking is the same. Right? So in pure bhakti, you cannot stop yourself from talking about Krishna. In Karma Yoga, you are dovetailing your activities. You still have the material motive in us. But somehow or the other, you're trying to connect, to make it look like devotional service.
So in that essence, the philosophy of ISKCON is a combination of both, right? Or maybe the first
In ISKCON, you will have people from the entire spectrum. But the goal is important. Even though you may be thinking on the karma platform today, since you are getting the jnana about Sambandha jnana of Krishna, there'll come a point in your life where you will say, all that is unnecessary. Let me focus on what is necessary. You have to come to that aha moment at some point in your life. You have to. I have to. Right? If you don't, then it's not very useful. Yeah.
In Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna is gradually taking us from karma yoga to devotional services.
Yeah, he's gradually taking us. See, by the time you come to 18th chapter, you should be a different person. Right? Technically, you should be a different person. But we may go from chapter 3 to chapter 18 in 1 year. But the same progress may take 30 years. See that?
30 lifetimes.
No, let's be optimistic. Why say 30 lifetimes?
I was saying, or
Let's do it this lifetime. Right? But maybe not as fast as Bhagavad Gita is progressing. We will lag behind, right? I finished my Bhagavad Gita 2 years ago. Doesn't mean that I'm at the Sarva Dharman Parityajya platform yet. So it will take some more time. See that? But at least it will give you the fundamental basis or the goal. You'll know what the goal is. And then you will apply it. You're already applying somewhat, but not to a great degree. You have to apply more.
So Prabhu, sorry, on the same topic of Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. So wouldn't Prabhupada qualify as doing Karma Yoga, and in what he was doing, it was all Bhakti Yoga? That he was...
Prabhupada gave us the diamond. He gave us the highest. But we are unable to reach the diamond. But we are trying. We are going through step by step, stool by stool. We are putting one stool, second stool on top, third stool on top. We are trying to grab the diamond.
So
He gave us the highest. You don't have to do anything. That's why I'll tell you, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, who we were going to, now his birthday today. He heard about the philosophy. In 6 months, he joined the temple. In 1 year, he was at a sannyasi platform. How fast did he progress? Because he was convinced fully. We are not yet. That's why we are slow. So he went from karma, jnana, dhyana, he came to bhakti. He said, enough is enough. Now that. The spiritual master says, go to China. He says, I don't know Chinese. He said, do you have to know Chinese to go to China? You go to China, distribute books. So he took some Bhagavad Gita with him. He went to China. He started preaching there. Now there are 5,000 Chinese disciples in China who chant Hare Krishna.
That wouldn't
The
qualify.
fellow doesn't even know the language. If you ask them to chant Hare Krishna, they say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Lam, Lam Lam, Hare Hare. But Krishna knows what he's trying to say. He cannot even say Ra. Ra is not there in their language. He says Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
So that wouldn't qualify as the karma yoga, what Prabhuji was doing, distributing books.
That's not karma yoga anymore. He said enough is enough. I've set my karma, my material activities aside. I'm just following the order of my spiritual master. I'm going to go preaching in somewhere else. That is the thing. There's a difference.
Or maybe when we get to it, I'll know better, because I'm still confused.
Why are you confused?
Devotional service and the bhakti yoga, what's the difference there? Because
Bhakti has some qualifications, right? If you go to 10.10, go to 10.10 and read to me loudly. Tesham sadata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. Teshanuevam kampartam aham ajnana jantama
Mashyamya bhavasto
nashyami atmavavasto jnana deepena bhasvataha. Okay, so what is the meaning of the previous verse that I just read?
To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me.
Yeah, this is very high. They are serving Krishna with love. When they serve with love, Krishna gives the knowledge from within on how to go back to Him. Right now we are still struggling with our senses. So that's why we are not in chapter 10. We are still struggling with our actions. That's why we are still in chapter 3. We are practically in chapter 3. That's what I meant. Right? We are in the karma platform right now. But karma yoga can be used as buddhi yoga. How? Krishna is supreme. Therefore, let me work for Him. So you are working for Krishna. And you are also on the side working for yourself still. You have not fully given up everything. Right? Like tomorrow, if I say, okay, now give up everything and go to China to preach, what would your reaction be? First of all, who are you? Why should I go to China? Why should I preach? I don't even fully understand who Krishna is. All these questions will be there. That's why we should first go through chapter 3 to learn these things before we can jump to 10. Chapter 10 means what? What is the other verse? Tesam satatiptanam bhajatam priti purvakam. The definition of my devotee in Bhakti Yoga is all the time he's talking about me. Whenever he finds another devotee, oh, did you know Krishna did like this in this? Are we talking like that? No. Because we find very ashamed to talk about that. We think that it is unnatural, right? We think that, oh, I have to be like, I should do a little bit of bhakti, but then remaining times I should have my, veneer, my modern.
Once we go back,
Modern outlook.
go back to the Monday routine, then it's like material.
Yeah, but you can do karma yoga there. You should use part of your income to propagating Krishna consciousness, cooking for others, feeding prasadam, going on the streets, distributing books. You should be able to do that, right? The fact that you are still considering whether that is good or not itself means that you are not fully convinced. That's a fact, actually. If you are fully convinced, Radhika Mataji, one of the Prabhupada disciples, he said, if you are convinced of this philosophy, that's it, you'll run. You'll not say, this is my job, this is my position, this is my salary, this is my profession. You'll run, basically. You'll say, okay, whoever you find, you'll talk about Krishna, which means distribute books. You'll not worry about a profession, really. So we are not there yet. That's a fact. So that's why Karma Yoga is okay. You start with that. Karma Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, are almost synonymous, because you are using your buddhi, your intelligence, to dovetail your material activities into spiritual activities.
Arjuna has Arjuna has already accepted Krishna as his spiritual master by surrendering himself unto him. Shishya,
Teham
Shishyasteham
sadhimam va
sadhimam.
prapannam. See, I am your shishya. So now you give. I have taken shelter of you. You give me knowledge. That's what Arjuna says.
Consequently, Krishna will now tell him about the working process in Buddhi Yoga or Karma Yoga, or in other words, the practice of devotional service only for the sense gratification of the Lord. This Buddhi Yoga is clearly explained in chapter 10, verse 10 as being direct communion with the Lord, who is sitting as Paramatma in everyone's heart.
Yeah, so by doing Buddhi Yoga, what you're doing? You're directly in communion, means you're directly interacting with the Lord who is sitting in your heart. So you have not come to the still the Bhagavan stage, but at least the Paramatma stage, you're directly in communion.
But such communion does not take place without devotional service. One who is therefore situated in devotional or transcendental loving service of the Lord, or in other words, in Krishna consciousness, attains to this stage of Buddhi Yoga by the special grace of the Lord. The Lord says, therefore, that only to those who are always engaged in devotional service out of transcendental love does he award the pure knowledge of devotion in love.
See, this is very important, right? We attain to Buddhi Yoga stage how? By grace of the Lord, mercy. So there has to be two things. There has to be mercy of the Lord. There has to be effort too. When Mother Yashoda was trying to tie Krishna, always fell 2 fingers short. So Acharyas explained that the first finger is mercy, second finger is effort. You should have mercy of the Lord, and you should have.
Who fell 2 fingers short? Sorry, I missed.
When Mother Yashoda was trying to tie Krishna to the grinding motor,
Okay.
no matter how much rope she tied, she always fell 2 fingers short. It would not come close to tie a knot. So mercy should be there, and mercy is already there. It's coming to us right now, but now you have to put the second, which is effort. Only to those who are always engaged in devotional service. So how does mercy come? You should start engaging yourself in devotional service. When you are engaging in devotional service, the Lord feels pleased and he gives it. First, it starts with Ajnata Sukriti. You may have like opened the door for some elevated soul, so that Ajnata Sukriti attracts you to devotional service. Right? Did I tell you the story last time? Srila Prabhupada, when he was going on a flight, he didn't eat anything, so one of the air hostesses, flight attendants, gave him some fruits. So 30 years later, she became a devotee. So it took 30 years for that seed to grow into a plant. So that Ajnana Sukriti is required. So you should have had some contact with the devotee of the Lord. Then you do some devotional service. Attracts the mercy of the Lord. So the Lord becomes interested in you. Then he gives it, that mercy. Then you continue to do your effort. It's not just mercy. The biggest problem with Christianity is there is exclusive dependence on mercy. There's no concept of putting your effort. So what happens? Oh, Jesus Christ will take all of my sins, so I can keep on sinning. Yeah, that's a big problem actually with Christianity. So it's like a dead end. That religion has actually reached a dead end. It's stopping people from progressing. They're saying Jesus is taking your sins, so done. Job done. No. You have to put in your effort to please the Lord on a constant basis. Then it attracts more mercy. That's what it says, right? So only those who are engaged in devotional service out of transcendental love does he award pure knowledge of devotion. So then knowledge comes. Jnana deepena bhasvataha. You remember 10.11 that you just read. So in the heart, he reveals, this is the way to do it. And then you quickly do it and you're done. So your progress is much faster. Until then, we have our karma is one of the, like a dam. It's the dam stopping your flow of devotion, your past karma. And then our anarthas means our unwanted, like I am so and so, I am this, I am that, therefore I don't need to do this. Right? A lot of people don't bow down when they come to temple. They think it is below them to bow down. Right? You have to fully fall flat, dandavats. Because he is very superior, right? He has created this whole universe. Who are you? He's just like a little tiny guy walking here and there. And that too, you are walking on his energy. Yantra Rudhani Mayaya. No, you are tapping his energy to walk even. Right? So when we come to that understanding and when we show respect to the Lord as a superior, then Jnana Deepena Bhasvataha. He will do that.
So Prabhuji,
Yeah.
something was revealed to me about Master Jesus I want to share with you since you brought him up.
Okay.
So I believe, because of what was revealed to me, Jesus' special grace for you. So you're worshiping Jesus, these people, and they're eating meat, right? No,
Right, right.
they're drinking alcohol, but they're worshiping Jesus, or they're having illicit sex, or they're gambling, but they're worshiping Jesus, right? I believe, based on what's been revealed to me, that those people, they worship Jesus, they get to another human birth immediately. No intermediate animal and then human, or I just am. I truly believe
So I,
this is-
I don't know that.
You can't prove it.
Yeah, I don't
But-
know that. So I don't want to speculate. Okay?
No, it's
Yeah,
no
since
spec-
I don't know, I don't want to speculate. Yeah.
But I want to share with you those.
No,
since
that's
you brought
good.
it
That's
up,
good you
okay?
brought it up.
Yeah.
That's good you brought it up. Yeah. Okay, so now we have covered. See, Srila Prabhupada, the greatness is he doesn't make up his own statements, right? He just quoted something from chapter 10, right? That the knowledge is revealed in the heart. So we went there and we actually read the verse. So acharyas are required to always quote from scriptures. Munis are always required to extend. So they fall into speculation. That's the problem. Both start with the Vedic basis, but one extends, the other confirms to the previous acharyas. You can write whatever you want to write. You can write in a very modern, fancy language, but the knowledge has to confirm with previous acharyas. Then it's called Acharya Parampara. Right?
Prabhu, so in this one where Prabhupada is talking about engage in devotional service out of transcendental love, only to those.
Mm-hmm.
So most of us, or I should speak maybe just for me, my engagement in devotional service is purely for selfish reasons. I would think if I'm doing it because I don't want to get into this rut again. So I would
Yeah,
consider
you start
that,
like that. They're chatur vida bhajante mam. Somebody who is in need of money, somebody who is in distress, somebody who wants something in return, and somebody who is inquisitive, jnani. So Krishna says, out of these four, the jnani is the best because he is seeking to know more about me, not just trading with me. I will come to your temple or I'll chant 4 rounds for you. You give me X, Y, and Z.
right. So, but it's not asking for a material thing. Like that's the motivation. for
But
most
how
of
do you
us.
know what you're asking for? Do you know what you're asking for though?
Right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. That most of the motivation initially to engage in devotional service is where we start. Right. Definition of a problem.
Mm.
The jar jara vyadhi mrityu. So that's the motivation.
That's
that
okay.
you
Yeah,
need
you
to-
start with that, but you don't stay there. You
Would-
move, you move.
Would that be considered still selfish if you're?
That's okay. You're selfish for Krishna, right? You want something higher. You want no other person than the Supreme Person. So that's okay.
But this transcendental love, this is a different level altogether, right? Where they say
We start off in mode of passion because we want something in return. Then we progressively move to mode of goodness. We stay there for a long time. And then some people will migrate from there to transcendental love.
it seems like Krishna is only going to let them in, right? Who are at that level of the transcendental.
Krishna's standard is high, but you can start somewhere. You have to start somewhere.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
Krishna's standard is high, yeah. But you start somewhere. But we are talking about advanced bhakti here. But you have other vehicles to get there. So you start a little bit karma mishra bhakti, means karma mixed bhakti. Jnana mishra bhakti, knowledge mixed bhakti. You need some knowledge. Without knowledge, how would you do that? If you didn't know that you can make more money in by coming to Seattle, why would you come? So with that jnana about Seattle, you came to Seattle. Same thing, by jnana about the Supreme Lord, you come to the Supreme Lord. So jnana mishra bhakti. But real bhakti that Krishna loves and hankers for is anya abhilashita shunyam. I don't have any abhilash. I don't want karma results, activities. I don't want jnana, but just Krishna. It will take time. That's why it says Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanavama Prapadyate. Out of these four types, the first three are discounted. Jnanavama Prapadyate. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. So out of many, many lifetimes, this Jnani says, what am I doing? Every life I'm going through the same thing again and again. He'll come to that. Okay, now I'll surrender to Krishna. Such a person is then awarded that. Because you cannot take somebody like, you cannot just take a drunkard and all of a sudden, okay, now chant Hare Krishna and then tomorrow you'll be liberated. No, it's not possible. The fellow has to go through ignorance to passion, passion to goodness, goodness to pure goodness, Shuddha Sattva.
We just talked about mercy and effort, right? I just want to know what's the proportion, like how much effort should I do?
So now you're thinking like a jnani because you want to count. You want to put a count on everything, Sankhya. Maybe 63.83%. I don't know. I mean, Krishna doesn't reveal that. See, you can go from 0 to 99 in 1 second. By understanding who Krishna is, what is his position, let me surrender unto him. We haven't even started the process. We have started the process of surrender, which is Shravanam, Kirtanam, but we have to be more serious.
So now, Prabhu, like if somebody is going to take an effort, does the past karma affect the mercy of
Past
Krishna?
karma may put a little roadblock, right?
It does.
You are coming to temple to chant Hare Krishna. Your past karma was that a trunk will fall on you and you will die. But instead of dying, you'll break your leg. You still come into the temple limping. And you'll still chant Hare Krishna. You'll put a cast on your leg. Right? Yeah, that's it. Your past karma will be nullified by desire to do devotional service. Reduced for the most part and eventually nullified. Right? I have seen people in dire circumstances chanting. Yeah. So one devotee, there was this story, right? In great distress. This was sent to Saki Sangha. Her son was about to die. Yeah, the baby was premature. She was put in that artificial thing. Every day she would come to the son and chant Hare Krishna mantra, give some prasadam through the mouth. Very small baby, right? Little bit of milk, prasadam milk. About to die, and everybody's crying, including the nurses. But she was not crying. She's saying, I have to chant. And the doctors were also saying, come, you chant for your baby. And then she was chanting. And while chanting, the baby passed away. So she thought of that individual not as her son, but one more devotee who has to be liberated. So she chanted Hare Krishna and she arranged for that person's progress. Like that. So that is devotional standard actually. Oh, Krishna, why are you killing my son? I've been chanting for 16 years. She didn't say that. She had a different. Yeah, she was advanced. We should advance too. why should only she be advanced? You should be advanced too.
Because they in that I was reading, they were saying we should aspire to be a devotee where the real devotees don't ask for liberation.
Yeah.
They just ask for
First
more
become some devotee, then you become a real devotee. Yeah, right.
I'm just saying that.
Yeah. So what we should do is we should at least start becoming a devotee, and slowly it will happen. Right now, what you're doing is also changing your heart. Hearing about Krishna changes heart. Right? It does change heart. And once there's a little bit of change of heart, then you pick it up more seriousness. And then all this anartha nivriti, right? And there comes a stage 4, which is anartha nivriti. Bad things will go away from the heart. First thing is what? Sadhu Sangha. Then comes, no. First thing is Shraddha. She shows some interest. Then you associate with devotees, sadhu sangha. Anybody who's chanting Hare Krishna or anybody who's chanting the glories of Lord is considered a sadhu. Different levels of sadhu, but sadhu. So, Shraddha, then you do some sadhu sangha, then you do bhajana kriya. Then stage 4 is anartha nivriti. Bad things will go from the heart. So you may go from 1 to 3 in 1 year, but stage 4 may keep for 20 years because those anarthas are there in the heart, deeply rooted. You just don't want to come out. So it's a science actually. This is a very, very interesting science. How to take somebody who's like a total rascal and put him through the pipe. Other end, he becomes a great devotee. Going through stages. So we have to go through the stages too. We are all in sadhu sangha stage right now. Right? Bhajana kriya means constant chanting of the Lord is bhajana kriya. Then anartha nivriti, bad things will come out of the heart. Then you get ruchi, taste. Then you get nishtha, steady determination. Asakti. And after asakti, bhava. Bhava means nobody has to tell you anything about Krishna. Naturally you will do it.
What is asakti? Like,
Asakti is interest. Asakti is a Sanskrit word, right? You get, asakti is like deep interest. Then ruchi, taste. Ruchi, asakti, bhava. After bhava comes prema. So Krishna is attracted by prema bhakti. He's not attracted by low class stuff. But we have to start somewhere. We have to start somewhere.
That's actually very interesting, Prabhu, the stage of when the bhava comes. Because I also used to do that excuse for not doing any devotional service. We always say, oh, Prabhu the bhav ke bhuke hain. But the bhav itself is such an advanced stage.
Bhav is an advanced stage actually. Yeah.
People just misquote it to.
No, that's because of use of language loosely, right? That's the problem. When we take Sanskrit and translate it into Hindi, it becomes little loose. When you translate it to English, it becomes even more loose. This is a problem with language also. But Srila Prabhupada wrote every books in English so that the whole world can benefit, right? One person even went to the extent of saying that the British attacked India so that Srila Prabhupada can translate his books in English so that the whole world can read. Right? Because without English, then we would not be sitting here reading in these English books. Like that. Now, England is out of European Union. Scotland wants to secede from England. They said sun never sets on the British Empire. It just started setting right now. Yeah. So it's like that. So let's chant and then we will finish the day. No?
Sorry, bro.
We didn't finish the verse? That's okay. Satatam Kirtayanto Ma. We'll finish it next time.
Prabhu, before I forget, Pandavas are Moon Dynasty. They
Moon
are
Dynasty,
Chandravata.
okay. So next week we are doing test.
Yeah.
So I won't be there. You have the question paper. You can type up your answers and email them to me. Okay?
Oh.
you sent the question paper?
I already sent, right?
Yes.
I call them hints
Yes.
because I'm not supposed to reveal questions.
So we don't have to come here, Prabhu?
You come here and sit so that it will be a good environment. If you do it at home, then it will be like you'll be feeling sleepy or something.
No, but if I come here, then we have to use the paper pencil.
Okay, you do paper and pencil and give it to me. Or you can do it, write in paper pencil, type it in the computer and then give it to me. Either way. Or you can do it at home on your computer.
And then send it to you.
Yeah.